remember. But when everything is coming back to me, I feel as if my memory is paralyzed.
Now let's see. What is the last thing you can remember?
I don't know.
Go on. Oh, wait a minute.
Greetings, everyone. Bless up and big up to everyone listening from YouTube, whether you're listening live or from the playback. How's it going? Welcome to another live stream from Why It Matters. I hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday evening. It's 8:38 where I am, so I appreciate everyone for stopping by, for tuning in. Please make sure if you are listening in either on the playback or live, please make sure that you do like the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you are new, because today we're going to have a nice little talk about, I suppose, the future. It's a conversation that we talk about, but we really don't talk about it often enough. Or at least I don't talk about it often enough. So hopefully in this live stream, we're going to get some, have a nice conversation about where we are as a people in terms of how we're looking in the future. What are we doing to rectify the mistakes of the past? Because at the end of the day, and I will say this, we do harp on about the past a lot, and not enough gets brought to the forefront of people's minds about what we're doing now help those who are in the now and also those in the future. So, what I'm going to do, hopefully, in this live stream is to just talk a little bit about what I've been looking at over this last year, because this is what this stream is about. This is about wrapping up this year because it's the 21st of December and another year is, I want to say, slowly dwindling by. It's gone by quick now. Think about it. Even regardless of all the lockdowns, semi-lockdowns, plan A, B, C, all that kind of other good stuff that's been going on this year, for me at least, has flown by. So yeah, it's been one of those situations where, yeah, we're just going to have a little bit of an end of year review or thoughts in regards to what's taken place and where I see things panning out and how I see things have gone. So this live stream is going to be talking about one of the initiatives that was created. Oh my days, this was actually last year, to be fair to you. Black Pound Day was created by Swiss, who, if anyone doesn't know him, he was part of So Solid Crew back in the day. Please, I'm showing my age, I'm telling you right now, but anyone who's born and understood about the 90s and that kind of noughties, you know who So Solid Crew was. You know, they were one of the first the biggest crews, founding crews and everything like that. So I know kids were saying that they were now so solid after they came out. So yeah, that's kind of where, or that's who started this particular, yeah, let's call it a movement. One of the things about that word movement when it comes to us is, yeah, it's always, everything seems to be a movement. But yeah, let's call it a movement. But it's not really a movement because it's something which I had a criticism. I'm not gonna lie to you in regards to this particular situation, this exercise. But before I continue, I just want to say what's up to people in chat. Skills Man Reloaded. My favorite catchphrase: get the likes up. Yeah, no worries. I mean, hopefully this live stream, I say hopefully, this live stream may not be the longest live stream in the world. So I'm hoping you can stop by for as long as you can do, by all means. But I appreciate you got work in the morning. I know a lot of people are breaking up either today or tomorrow. So I'm assuming you've not got too much work on in regards to the holidays. It's that season, isn't it, where people are just winding down, people are working who aren't really working. I know boss is saying, I don't really want to do much during this period of time. So yeah, make everything as calm as possible. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. Sounds good by me. But yeah, hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, hope everyone's doing well during this time of the year. It's a festive season. It's a season of giving, sharing, caring. It's a season of family. It's a season of community. It's a season of all that good stuff. And this is exactly where this Black Pound Day, really, in my books, this is how I see it, because I'm not gonna lie to you. I did a video talking about this. This was one of my actually, this was probably my second video that I produced talking about Black Pound Day last year, because I'll be honest, I had some criticisms on it, which some of it I stand by, but some of it, looking back in retrospect, do you know what? I'll be a big enough man to admit I was actually wrong. And one of the things which I was kind of critical of was probably the marketing or how it came about. Because one of the things which, and this is where I've got to sort of kind of apologize and say, I was wrong about that, because I always complain about, negative press when it comes to us gets the most amount of press. So all these negative perceptions, and we talk about it so often. We talk about everything that goes wrong between the genders, everything that goes wrong in the communities, everything that goes wrong when it comes to finances, everything that goes wrong when it comes to single parent household, everything that goes wrong. This is always the press that gets circulated, and this is what gets promoted. But you know what? It kills me. We then complain about where's the good press? Well, or where are the good things that are being shared? Well, these are one of the situations here where I would say this. Maybe the tactic wasn't as good as I thought it should have been. But you know what? I had to come back and say this is exactly what we need as a people going forward. Because one of the things which, and I'm going to show some stats in regards to where we're at as a community, is that we're not good at is supporting one another. We really aren't actually good at support. I think we do a lot more lip service than actual service. So what I mean by that is we like to say, we should support, we need to support, we need to support. But the question is, what are people actually doing to support? And that's one of the biggest things which always kill me the most when it comes to us as opposed to other communities. Because again, if you look at the ecosystem that surrounds the stereotypical South Asian, and how, of course, they split between the different groups, as we know, but for lack of better words, we call them South Asians. We kind of, see them grouped and kind of similar, even though they're not similar. But one of the things that they have, which I do admire from them, being another minority group, this is another thing that kills me as well. We always talk about, we're only this percent of the country, only that percent of the country, doesn't matter. South Asians aren't exactly, there may be a larger minority group, but they're still a minority group. And one of the things which they have, which I do admire and respect, is they have a nice ecosystem in which they can have situations where people go out to get their degrees. They may be a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, so they'll have to get a job from the wider society. However, they have a nice ecosystem set at home in which, if they needed to, they have a nice sort of foundation in which they can have their, if they want to start a business in, let's say, a corner shop, or if they wanted to have a dessert shop, if they wanted to have their halal shops, as you know, their meat stores, butchers, accountants, they have a nice ecosystem in which, because their stores are pretty much in their areas, are owned by them and catered to them, even though it's not technically on the tin, but you can always tell when you go into these areas, okay, this is the area which I know the clientele, just off the strength of how the community, the ecosystem looks. So one thing which I admire from them is the fact that they put their money where their mouth is in their communities, and you can see that as a result of how the ecosystem works up. Same with the Chinese, another minority group who are smaller than we are. They have their Chinatown. Everyone knows who Chinatown is. They have Chinatown in London, Manchester, and I think there's probably one in like Birmingham or something. But they have their Chinatown. Again, similar situation. They have an ecosystem, again, centered around food, but they have their market store. They have all these things which at least they can say to themselves, you know what? We have this ecosystem, which their finances, which is one of the key aspects of their ecosystem, it gets circulated in their community, regardless of how big or how small it is. So even someone who's a doctor or a lawyer, they can feed off or buy into that same ecosystem as somebody who's, I don't know, a kebab shop owner, a plumber, electrician. They can still go and eat off that same ecosystem. They can still feed into it, and it strengthens their ecosystem. If you look at how they move as a people, if you look at how they disseminate as a people from the outside, I'm not saying they don't have problems. Everyone has problems. No one is perfect. We all, as a community, have our problems, whether it be crime, whether it be difference between the genders, whether it be difference between the majority group, whether it be they call racism, discrimination, religion, whatever it is, you name it. They all have their problems. We all do. One thing that you can say on the outset is at least they seem to have a better feel or handle about how the ecosystem runs. Whereas when it comes to us, we don't really seem to have that great ecosystem yet, which is something which Black Pound Day, when it comes to financial base, seeks to rectify. Because at the end of the day, and this is key, we need to be supporting our own. People always talk about, and I had a conversation actually, fun enough, with with a family member, and one of the things we were saying is, was having a discussion about, you know what, do we cater only to our own people at the detriment of the wider base? Because at the end of the day, if you look at mathematics, 3% is not as large as 97%. So, in regardless of how big that, regardless of how financially successful that 3% is, surely it's not going to dwarf the 97%. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's true. However, I will say this though, this is the key. Every single group, every group, Kate sells their culture to themselves. That's very key now. Every single group, the first object of its own group, if you cannot sell your culture to your own people, this is where the problems lie. And this is what Black Panda seeks to correct, or at least seeks to remedy. Because if you are relying on another group of people to buy your types of products, which you should be selling to yourselves, you're going to have a big problem with, we call it culture vulturing, cultural appropriation. We're going to have a massive problem with not having any Black owned stores, Black owned things that we as a people should be the primary caretaker, or I say we should be the preeminent caretakers of our own culture. Again, we've mentioned this on numerous live streams, how we have our foods, our hair products, skin products, big brands which aren't owned by ourselves. And the reason is because we seem to have kind of, maybe, in my humble opinion, not the greatest viewpoint on how we should operate. Yes, I'm not saying we should negate ourselves to owning ourselves, but we need to, our first point of call, our first point of reference is selling our own people their own culture. And then after that, we then expand. That's our home, that's how our ecosystem works. We have our own groups and then we expand, not to exclude, but don't exclude the people who actually are supposed to be, who want to be supporting you. Because at the end of the day, we always have these conversations about, it's always other groups who supported me during my journey, it's always other groups. And that can't be right. That cannot be right. We need to have a system where we as a group, We just support each other. It's not like it's in some sort of, oh, you're telling me I have to support this. No, it's just surely we want to see our own people do well. And the first point of call would be to your own people. What's the famous phrase? Charity begins at home. So what I'm trying to say is, and I'm not trying to say it's charity, but when it comes to our business, our ecosystem, the reason why these other groups seem to get on, do better that way is because they understand that tenets about, listen, we're not saying stop shopping in other stores who aren't black owned. We're not saying any of that kind of stuff. We're not saying disinvite other people. We're just saying charity starts at home. Once you understand that, it goes from there, not a problem at all. So I see a few people, a couple more people in the chat. Let me just say what's up to everybody. Again, big up, bless up to everyone in the chat and who's watching in. Please make sure on your way in you like the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you are new. Eunice Osman, how's it going? What you saying? South of Blue. Yeah, man. Big up, man. Big up, man. Love from nuts. Love from nuts. But yeah, Manchester, love it. How's it go? How's it up there? Is it all good? All good. But yeah, so Black Pound Day. So let me go over what Black Pound Day is all about. I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping you all know by now what Black Pound Day is. Essentially, it's a case of one day, it's the first Saturday of every month. The objective or the ask is for us to support black business in any which way that we can do. So the ask is every Saturday, just prioritize or keep an eye on and say, you know what, for this Saturday, all I'm going to do is maybe instead of your normal shop somewhere else, can you go to another place which has owned by black stores owned, just so that we can support our own people. Now, one of the things which the stats I saw or I was reading is, especially during this pandemic. So during this pandemic, a lot of businesses, as you can imagine, went under. This is regardless of race. But one of the things which, again, we realized, or one of the things which I read a stat is more black businesses failed under the whole pandemic in comparison to non-black businesses. Now, as to why that is, I do not know. Maybe they overstretched themselves. Maybe they couldn't handle, because let's be honest, it's very difficult. I was speaking to people who own my barber, and I was saying, I don't know how certain stores can stay open for, or should I say survive for like 6 months or more. Even the average individual, if someone told you as an individual, you're not going to get any wages for 6 months, could you survive? Let alone a business who have rent to pay for their store, whether they have supply chains, all these kind of things that take place. And people talk about, you know, the bailouts and things like that took place, but it's like, to try and tell someone to shut their store for 6 months and then open it, then shut back, open it, bro, I can imagine how difficult it has been for businesses to survive. So one of the things which I really do, why I believe in this movement, why I believe in this structure is just, do you know what? This is something which I have absolutely zero problem with. Again, just to be honest and be transparent, I did have an issue with it at the start, just in terms of its marketing, just in terms of how it came across, because South of Blue, this is something that I was saying. And I just want to get into this because this is where I had to do a bit of retrospection on this. And I had to check myself. Because what you said here, which is when people talk about, or when people about Black Pound, there are a lot of non-black people, especially white people, say they feel like black people, we're segregating ourselves. Why is this? But you know what I say to that? I say every other group, this is what I was saying before, I don't know if you caught it. Every other group does this by nature. And this is one of the things in my initial analysis, what I was talking about. Why should we feel a certain way for supporting our own? Now, it's all about how you proposition it. That's the key. That's where that's the way I would say I still do agree with what I said in my first video that I talked about this. It's how it comes across. Because with everything, with all things, how you start, you can either tune people onto something or you can tune people out of something. It can either come across as hateful or come across as, okay, I understand the issue. Now I understand why you're doing it. Because at the end of the day, Asians by nature, again, they seem to, when I go to their communities, they shop in their stores. Who has a problem with that? People shop at stores that they respect, that they like, based on whatever their needs. And a lot of it is based around cultural necessities. Again, the chip shop, the local chip shop, who owns that? Majority, it's white British people. Now, we have Turkish who own the kebab stores, but that's like a Turkish kebab type store. Most people sell their own culture to their own people. I go to the Turkish place up in my ends, and I see Turkish people in there. There are non-Turkish people there, but what I'm trying to say is they serve their own people first. So they already have it seems like, a code that says we are going to support our own people. For some odd reason, we don't have that code. Again, I talked about how our ecosystem don't seem to be built up on a system which supports us. We like to integrate into society, assimilate into society, which kind of, it hurts our business. It hurts a lot of what we've done. So when you say about, oh, they feel as if we're trying to segregate ourselves, you know what? It ain't even about that. It's about our people who have businesses. They've been struggling for a long time, a long, long, long time. And our own people, this is really a call out to our own people. This is what I really wanted to kind of keep clear. This is how I should have said it in my first video. We should have done it in such a better way, which should have said, you know, we as a people are really bad at supporting our own businesses. Why is that? Why don't we start something different? This is what this aims to address. Because I'm going to show you some. Let me show you this. This is something which I saw, which is what I really wanted to keen on, which hopefully answers the reason why Southwood Blue. And it kind of checked me a little bit, because we do like to be, I don't know what this is about. I'm going to this space, especially black conservatives. They're almost like, do you know how you have the white liberal who seem to be, oh, black people are victims, black people are this, oh, sorry for black people. You have these black conservatives who will do the exact same thing to white people. I'm like, what's wrong with you? He's just mad. But let me just show you this. Let me show you this. So this is the black spending in the UK. Now, the black spending power is 300 billion. Now, I'm just going to, this bit here, this first one, when it says black spending power, it actually includes Asian. So I tried to look at the stats for just, you know, if you look at black and split it up. But for now, the black spending power, assume that includes black and Asian, the minority group, BAME. So the spending power is 300 billion. Now, we make up 3% of the population. We generate 10 billion for the UK economy. Now, this is the two things that really, really is the reason why I fully support Black Pound Day. And I think everyone should support this, no question. Look at this. 95% of our spending is done outside of the 95% of spending is done outside of the community. Now, please tell me, do you think on the strength of that, that is a good thing or a bad thing? Because in my world, there has to be something wrong. And I'm going to go into the reasons why, in my opinion, as to what I've experienced. And I'm pretty sure what you've all experienced as to why that is the case. But this is why it's needed that we give a bit of a call to arms, say, look, we're here, we're available. These are the type of businesses. Please, please, please look at this. I'm not saying you have to be almost like you're segregating ourselves, but we need to, charity starts at home. If we care about ourselves, if we love about ourselves, why wouldn't we spend in our own community? That's the question I have. Why wouldn't we? There are some things we can't just do to, like, you can't buy an Apple iPhones in the black community. You can't buy a lot of things on Amazon you can't buy. I get all that. And I'm going to talk about why some things are in a second. But 95%, that's crazy. And then on top of that, 2%. 2% of spending is done with black businesses only. That's crazy. 2%. So these last two things, already these last three things, are really something which, when I was looking at these numbers and looking at these stats, man, that is crazy. That's crazy. And what kills me, and yeah, you said it again, what is the problem? There seems to be an issue when we come together. Now, again, we're a bit loud and boisterous about it. This is probably what ticks people off. But you know what? Why should we care? There's some situations where, I'm sorry, we as people, we care too much what other people think. Oh, what about who's going to think about this, and who's going to think about this, and do we really want to be like this? Do you know what kills me the most? Every group, I don't care what you say, every group, they have something that they care about. And the first thing they care about is their own group. They care about their own group survival. They care about their own group's future. Why are we any different? Why? They aren't any different, regardless of what they try and tell you about. Oh, we don't care about this, we don't care about that. That is 100% lie. 100% lie. And this last year has proven, without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, it's nothing but a lie. There's nothing wrong with us coming together as a group. Nothing. And 100% right. People, they either know or they see or they feel that we have potential, but we do not see it in ourselves. And this is exactly why things like Black Pound Day, I'm in full support of. We need to make sure that above all else, we cater to our own people. Because again, we talk so much, talk so much shit about ourselves as a people. Yes, we do. Let's be honest. And we make profit off it. And this is one of the things which, again, I really, really, really wanted to try and stay away from and don't get into that rabbit hole. But whenever something negative hits the press about us as a people, the black liberal, or to say the left and the right, do the exact same thing that they cry each other do. They both profit off the same talking points, just in a different way. They are the exact same they're on the exact same coin, just the opposite end. One will say, oh, that's not a problem. The other will say that is a problem, but they all talk about and profit off the same thing. We already know what happens when there's a massive issue, incident. We like the black conservative, we like the black left. They go at it at each other, and I'm sitting back thinking, you guys looking like an idiot in front of everyone else. That's how I see it. But we should have absolutely no problem coming together as a group. We should see the potential of our group. And this is one of the things which saying, do you know what? If you want to know if there are black software designers, if you want to know if there are black engineers out there, if you want to know if there are black accountants, if you want to know if there's black this is the space, this is the sort of initiative that has been used or been set up to help us as people find each other. One of the things that we don't seem to do as well nowadays is find each other and, again, support each other. So now in this technological world, we can move differently, we can operate differently. So guess what? It's all digital now. So you have all these Twitter threads, but you have websites. I don't know if anyone's seen it. I'm going to show it on the screen now. It was having some difficulties this morning when I was trying to have a look at it. Let's take a look. No, I'm having difficulties, but hopefully tomorrow, whenever it's fixed, Black Panda has its own website in which you can have a look at things from online businesses, from actual local stores in different cities, in which you can have a look at things from people who make rum, people who do perfume, cologne, clothes, food, different types of business. So there's a whole, pretty much a network, a catalog of black-owned stores in which basically saying, look, we are out here, we are doing these things. Again, a lot of people think we're not doing these things. We are. We're not just complaining. We're not just doing this. We are out here. We are doing these things. The question is, do you know about it? Do you know who these people are, where they're located, what they do? A lot of times it's a no. Why is that? Because guess what? We as a people are bad at marketing the good in ourselves because, as you said, we don't see the potential in ourselves. So we market these bad things that, oh, see all that bad thing. I'm like, hold on a second. Time out. I'm not saying that there are things we shouldn't call out. But why don't we say, you know, we're also here doing this. We're also here doing that. We're also here, you know, with the ability to cater ourselves when it comes to market design, when it comes to product design, when it comes to creating a website. There are all the things that we cater towards. Now, as to why we have a lot of problems when it comes to this kind of stuff. And a lot of it comes down to, I wouldn't call it old stereotypes, because whenever I go into these stores, I still get the same stuff, or I still get the same type of treatment. And one of the things that happens, or the reason why 95% of our money goes outside the community, is because we don't feel as if we get a good enough customer service from our own people. That's the key thing. And that is actually, it's not gone away. That stereotype has not gone away. I still see that to this day. I went into the store and I was getting just some curry goat, some rice, plantain, some dumpling. And I'm telling you, it's almost as if they're doing me a favor. I'm like, there's still some traits that I see from businesses where I'm like, come on. The reason why, and that cost me like what, £12 to get all of that, as opposed to going to another, you know, non-black store, get something nice and quick, cheaper, easy, and I get a little bit of better service and probably a smile, maybe if I'm lucky, but at least better still than when I go into some other store. So I'm not going to say there's not a reason why this happens. There are reasons why. There are situations where I think this is cultural. It has to be just cultural, where we don't seem to want to treat ourselves with the same type of respect that we treat non-black people, or B, that even we want ourselves. I mean, one thing that, again, I was talking to my brother about this, that he said is, he believes in this theory. I don't think a lot of us believe in this theory. He hates selling something or doing something that he himself would not want. So you know how people ask you, can you do this, can you do that, or can you give me this, can you give me that? Some people, I've seen it, our own people, they feel comfortable giving you half-hearted attempts or half-hearted deliveries on things which I guarantee, had the roles been reversed and we gave them that exact same treatment, they would not like it. So the first question whenever a business starts to, when it starts is, would you be happy with the service? Would you be happy with the delivery? Would you be happy with the product that you're selling? Would you buy it yourself? That is the first numero uno rule when it comes to business or anything, any work that you deliver, whether it be software, whether it be computing, whether it be plumbing, electricity. Would you be happy with the level of service, the level of work that you gave? Would you be happy with that if that was given to you? Now, some people say, oh, I'll be fine, but I know for a fact that wouldn't be the case. And if that is the case, that's where you're going wrong. I mean, even in my area, when I go around, I have a look at things. I'm like, one of the first things you look at, and it's we're all visual creatures, men, women, children alike. The first thing you look at outside is, how does the store look? Does it look inviting? The colors match the name of the store. Table and chairs, what's inside there? Does it look broke down? Does it look new? Does it look modern? They're the things that you look at before you even enter the store. Now, again, I was looking at, I go into this Turkish restaurant. I was like, bro, the moment I go outside, especially when it's dark, it's nicely lit up. It's the decor looks nice from the outside. It was transparent, so you can see everything on the inside pretty much. You had nice tables and chairs, so you can see the layout before I even tasted the food. Now, so before I even tasted the food, before I even had any customer service, the first type of customer service I received was me looking at the store. Now, keep this in mind. Now, it's not like Turkish people are coming here with their millions, so it's not as if we can say, "Oh, well, we don't have the kind of budget." Nowadays, you can create a nice feel, a nice effect with not as much capital as people think it is. It's all about, can you see it? Do you have that sort of design element? And here's the thing, that's fine if you don't. Not all business people have all these kind of traits, but you can at least hire someone to have a look at the store and say, this design, this color scheme, how does this look, design it, layer it out, have your budget. And come on, nowadays, you can get cheap, nice looking table and chairs for a start. You can do nice things with not as great starting budget. I've seen other restaurants do it. I've seen other market stores do it. And I'm just like, bro, come on. Before we even get into the store, before we even have a look at who was ever in there, how clean it is, the service, we're looking at the outside. It draws us in, let's be honest. So one of the things which I've noticed, and again, this isn't all, but I'm generalizing right now because this is still a pattern that I can see from physical stores, not online people who do online stores, but physical stores. But I'm going to get to online in a second. But physical stores, when you go into the store or when you look in the store, the first thing you have to do is grab people's attention more than ever nowadays. And now I've still not seen, even the new ones, they've still not keyed in to that in terms of the aesthetics, in terms of the appeal, in terms of how it looks. So that's one of the things which I've noticed. And then when you go inside again, we all, the stereotype about the customer service and then not having the food that you want. That's another thing that annoys me. I mean, I've managed to key in on a few stores who don't have that kind of problem to the max as to what I want, but it's still like, God, if you don't have something, don't have it on the menu. I'm sick and tired of having things on the menu which you ask for it and you can't get it. What's the point? Whereas again, other people, it seems to be, yeah, it's fine. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So they're the sort of things which, once you put all that together, it does make sense as to why we spend outside. But we are getting better at these things. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do see hope. And again, this is just from a physical outside store. This is nothing to do with other stores that we do. I mean, there's people who do perfume. I bought a cologne from someone online, which is on its way now, so I can see how that is. The other things that we do, which again we are getting better at, because again, even when it comes to website design, there are a lot of stores. I'm like, oh God, again, websites. Your website design is the exact same as looking at your on the outside shop. If it looks appealing, if it looks inviting, people will stay. If it's got a good UI user interface, if it looks good, people are going to click around. If it has what it needs, people are going to want to stay. It's the same like that. Now, again, like I was saying, we are getting better at these things. And with Black Pound Day, it's bringing a lot of untapped talent in which gets missed under the sea of stereotypes. Because guess what? Unfortunately, and this is the truth, if you have a bad experience with something, you're less likely to want to go back. Let's just be honest. People have more negative experiences, and therefore they're less likely to want to reinvest. They're less likely, us as a people now, to want to go back and try and test and waste our time and money going to places that we may have a punt on because we've had bad experiences in the past. So a lot of times, a lot of other stores don't get the spotlight. They don't get the sort of, let's take a look, respect or courtesy that is due, because guess what? We've had bad experiences with similar type stores, similar type names, similar type people. And unfortunately, we generalize too much. And this what hurts us so badly. But anyway, when it comes to a lot of things that I'm seeing right now, a lot of things are getting better. Again, is it going to be perfect? No, but it's life. Life isn't going to be like that. It's going to be swings and roundabouts. But one of the things which I do enjoy about this initiative is this is what I'm talking about, where these are the things that we need to really, really, or in my opinion, us as a community, as an ecosystem, we can get better at. Again, I read that stat that 2% of our money gets spent with Black business. 2%. 95% of our spending goes outside the community. I would love that figure in the next year or 2 or 5 years to come down to like, I don't know, 60%. It ain't gonna come down to like, you know, 10%. It ain't gonna be like that. I mean, I think even 60s are probably a bit of a stretch, but I would love that number, that figure to drop dramatically. I would love that to be the case, because there are things we need to get from other people. I'm not silly when it comes to products that are on Amazon, or Alibaba, AliExpress, or things like that. I'm not silly. I get it. Tesco Express is a nice, quick, easy run. Asda's a nice, quick, easy run. Morrison's a nice, quick, easy run. So I get that. I get that. There are things which you just physically cannot get in a society dominated by not your own people. But you know what? There are things which we can do, which we can prioritize, which we can look at and think, hold on, I can actually do that with our people. You know what? I can actually do that with our people. Again, I'm looking at the stereotypical things like, you know, food, hair, those kind of things. But even like, again, other people have dessert stops, other people have other types of stores, donut shops, cheesecake shops, all these kind of things. It's not impossible. It's not something which is only reserved for, you know, non-black people to have a cheesecake shop. It doesn't have to be anything like a, you know, a cheesecake which has I don't know, I think a jerk cheesecake. Is that even gonna taste nice? I don't even know. You know, that might actually be a good idea if someone has a jerk cheesecake or something. But you see what I'm saying? There's so many things that we can actually do. And this Black Pound Day seeks to try and network and catalog like-minded businesses and like-minded people, so we can actually come together and just remind everyone on the first Saturday of every month, you know what? Charity begins at home. Take care of your own people. Look out for your own people. 'Cause at the end of the day, as much as you guys want to say what you want to say, no one's going to look out for your own people other than yourselves. Like your children. The only people who should be looking out for your children first and foremost is yourself. Now, we as a community, whether you live with Black people or you moved out for whatever reason, you're still part of the whole global network, locally, macro level. So you know what? Still see yourself, still try and find your own people, because at the end of the day, no one can care about yourself more than you care about your own people. No one can. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how liberal, I don't care how post-racial society is. No one can care about your people more than you. And they shouldn't. This is the next thing. They shouldn't. This is why I don't get upset with how other groups move. Other groups should move in their best interest for themselves. You see Brits, they're complaining about what happened with Brexit. You hear Brits complain about what happens in terms of overseas immigrants coming over to Britain, even though in the scheme of things, it's not a lot. You hear Britain complaining about so many things. You know the reason why? Because believe it or not, people, they care about their own people. Now, because majority of them are white Brits, whenever they say Britain, they mean white Brits. So they should care about their own people. No one can care about themselves other than them. So when people say these things about, oh, this is not the right way of doing it, look, at the end of the day, no one can care about you. No one should and can care about your own people more than you care about yourselves. So that's why I wanted to just bring that to the forefront, because I really, really, really do like this initiative. I really do think it's very good. I think it's something that we really, really should continue to market on, continue to go hard on it. One of the things which I was contemplating about is, you know what, it starts off strong, but then as things start off, it goes smaller and smaller and smaller. And before, guess what happens? Boom, it starts to level out. And before you know it, what becomes a nice little Twitter trend then becomes nothing. So I really, really am going to look to promote a lot more of those type of things to more businesses on my channel, on my page, just so you guys are aware. If anything, I'm not saying it can change the world, but just bring awareness just to our own people, not out of malicious in terms of pitting against another group, but just to show love. That's all it is, to show love to your own people. Because yeah, R&B, you're right. They also hire their own people. And here's the thing, I don't get mad at that, you know. A lot of people do. I don't get mad at that in a lot of situations. Why wouldn't they hire their own people? I mean, why wouldn't they? And the thing is, this is the unfortunate truth about, you know, we talk about nepotism and things like nature at all, but when you're in a society that's dominated by people who don't look like you, then, and you decide to then go into their workforce, in effect, you are going to have these more of problems when it comes to, I mean, racism or discrimination or just these cultural differences that you see when it comes to banter. You know, if anyone's in the workplace, they'll understand that, you know, the banter culture that takes place, how they rip each other, how a lot of things which a lot of people have realized people don't like, people don't like when it comes to other cultures. And you're going to have that because you're in the workplace dominated by the majority. So you either have to put up with a lot of things that you receive, or this is where our own ecosystem comes into place, where again, you have other communities, they have their own Chinatown, Asian Central, Asiansville, or whatever it may be the case. Because guess what? If they decide to not screw these people, I don't care for it. I don't care for this BS. I can't be arsed with it for whatever reason, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, cultural differences. Guess what? They at least have an ecosystem which their people in the main will support, and they can actually live off themselves. It may not necessarily be glamorous. This is the next thing. It may not be necessarily Bentleys, but I do see a lot of Asians when it comes to weddings, Ferraris, Bentleys, and or Lamborghinis now. I know a lot of them, they actually rent them out, but you see what I'm saying? This is how they roll. When you look at their weddings, they go all out. You haven't seen an Indian wedding before? Man, they go all out. All the high ballers come out. The whole flipping village comes out to support. This is how it rolls. Whereas I'm looking at myself, I'm like, when it comes to like a Caribbean wedding, I'm like, where's everyone out coming to support in the same sort of fashion? It's such a different kind of vibe, and it's like, man, I do get a little bit jealous, but I'm like, bro, this is the thing I'm talking about when it comes to support. It's like the whole people come out for it, and you can tell in droves. Whereas when it comes to us, we're kind of a bit like, yeah, do I like this person? No. Do I like the person? No. It's just like, politics, man. Politics. But that's kind of exactly why, again, Black Pound Day, it's the future. It's what we need going forward. The basis of our community has to be based on, one of the main things has to be economics. Because one of the things which I don't know if you do know, and the Runnymede report, they did this. It's called the Color of Money report. Now, in essence, it says this: for every pound that a white Brit earns, Black Caribbeans earn 20p, and Black Africans 10p. So I just want to repeat that one more time. So for every pound of a white British wealth, Black Caribbean households have about 20p of that pound. Black Africans have about 10p of that pounds. So knowing that we're already at a deficit when it comes to how much money that we make in comparison to the wider group, as to why that is, I let you make up that decision. It just could be, is what it is. They're a bigger group. They've got legacy here, is what it is. I get it. But when you look at those numbers, it even makes it more pertinent that we at least keep our money with ourselves and in our communities, because knowing that we also are at a deficit when it comes to physical wealth, economic wealth, housing wealth. I was looking at the housing numbers. In terms of what we own, Black Caribbeans are, I think it's the second least with Black Africans. So Black Africans, 20% of their houses are owned. Black Caribbeans are 40%, where Bangladeshis, Pakistanis, and Indians, I mean, Indians are well up here, but even Pakistanis and Bangladeshis, they're like 60% home ownership, whereas we're like 40% and 20% respectively. So these are kind of things, and these are kind of situations where a lot of times, because we're not really buying with ourselves, because we're not actually, supporting ourselves economically, we are out here by ourselves. So we have to, guess what? We have to beg other groups to help us out. We shouldn't be in a situation where we have to in droves beg other groups before we've come to ourselves. So we should go to ourselves first. We should be the ones who be giving ourselves grants. We're the ones who should be able to come together to give ourselves the capital, at least a bit of starting capital, as much as we can do, as little as we can do, to help the group survive. I take this as an example. Again, I have to go to another ethnic minority. I'm gonna go to white people. I'm gonna go to Asian people. Asian people, if you go to their houses, there'll be 3-4 generations deep inside that one house. Now, in a lot of our culture, we look at it thinking, how are you living at your home with your wife and children in the same house as your mother, your father, as well as your grandparents? So I'm like this, how are you living at your house like that? Check this out though. This is the power of economics. This is the power of the group. Not only does it make their bills a lot cheaper because they contribute to the household, their first community. So your first community is your family household in every single aspect. So before we talk about the wider community, we have to look at the local community, which is our family. Our family structure is the first thing that we have to look at. If our family is unstructured, I guarantee it, the whole community is unstructured. You can't have one without the other. I'm sorry, it just don't work that way. So their family structure, they serve each other. So what they do is that they may stay at home for a longer period of time than what we would consider it to be necessary for a man to be at home. Let's be honest. You want to have your own space. You want to have your own nest. So you don't want to be cooped up with your parents. I know. I don't think anyone wants to after a certain period of time. But guess what? It builds up group wealth. Serena J, you're 100% correct. Group economics. So what do? They save, they scrimp, they save. And sometimes they live in some absolute horrendous conditions. So we talk about, we live in these horrible areas. No. I guarantee you this. A lot of these Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, they will go into some areas which we won't really go into. In places of the UK, I know you guys don't want to go to. You guys talk about, that looks, man, that's too up north, man, bro. Yeah. These South Asians, man, they will go into places you guys will never even dare touch. And guess what they will do? They'll build up their group economics as a family structure, and they will go into now more middle upper class areas of that city, of those towns, and they will buy up those homes because guess what? A lot of them sometimes don't believe in mortgages. A lot of them don't believe in interest because they have their own banks. Well, I suppose Muslim banks, so I'll say that. So guess what? They have a much better basis as opposed to somebody who, let's be honest, if I be honest, like myself, you move out by yourself and you go through some of the pitfalls that you do because you're by yourself, i.e., run up debts. Would it be credit card debts? Would it be personal finance loans? Would it be car loans? All these things that you run up because guess what? You've got your rent, you got your mortgage, you may have your gal, you may have maybe kids if you have it too young. And guess what? You're kind of siloed by yourself. Now, if it works for you, great. But I know nowadays the house prices, with the cost of living, with salaries aren't going up in line with cost of living, it's difficult. So when you have a group, a family group, where again that makes you as a family unit stronger, guess what? You can save your money, you can have group economics, and you can go out there and you can, guess what? Cash. Some of these guys, I know some of these families, man, they pay for these houses 250, 300,000 cash because guess what? They spent their time big saving, all this kind of other stuff, and it's not frowned upon as much as it would be if it say, oh, you ain't gonna stay with your parents until you're 35, 40, or you're with your wife and family. You know what? Sometimes they do. And I see it. I see this area which I'm like, oh, bro, you've moved into this area. Oh man. And then after 5 years, I see more agents come into it. Because that's what happens. That's another thing that they do that I realized. After like 1 or 2 go into a certain area, I guarantee it. You check it 5 years down the line, you're like, whoa, the whole landscape has changed. They've recreated the area. But guess what? That's how they start their foundation. So they will go to places and they will dominate an area, but this is how they start. And it just starts little by little by little by little. But again, that foundation is, guess what? They support their family structure, which means that their group economics is strong. And then again, as the wider community forms off the back of what that family structure is, you can see the fruits of their labor. And this is how right now, you look at their group, again, they can be quite insular, but you can't argue. They're quite strong. And there's certain situations where I've seen where even the police, white police, they sometimes they're like afraid to go to certain areas because they know the hostility that they're going to face. I'm not saying we have to replicate that, but what it means is when issues take place, they also can police themselves a hell of a lot better. But also, this is the downside, and I'm going to say it, there's a lot of issues that doesn't get uncovered because there's a lot of issues that take place in some of those communities which we look at the news, it's not cool, it's not good. I'm nowhere near supporting it. So, I'm just saying there's pros and cons, but in terms of an economic standpoint, that's definitely on point. Definitely on point. But they invest in themselves because their family structure, it starts from the family. It starts, your first ecosystem is your family. And again, one of the things which I'm not going to really go into too much, but it's part of it, is they get married very young. I don't know if you know this, but those are the people, if you ever have Asian friends, they get married very, very young. So when it comes to starting a family, starting a structure, numbers, when it comes to actually sorting out the future generation, they don't hang about too long. I know we have conversations about it over here about marriage and what age of marriage and all this kind of other good stuff. But look, I know a lot of them, obviously not all, on average, trust me, by the time they're 23, 24, man, I'm telling you, I'm like, you married already? Please. But again, this is how this stuff starts. Marriage is a business. Economics. At the end of the day, your wife normally trusts you. Your wife will normally do the buying. All these things, all economics. It all ties in place. But again, it's that family ecosystem. It's that structure. That's how it starts. I'm going on to the next thing which I've clocked on. But I just want to say what's up to chat. I see a few people here. Please, again, big up and bless up to everyone's here. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in at this time. I don't know where you're all from, but again, I appreciate all of you. Please make sure you like the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you are new. MD2V4. Yeah. I think also investing in each other's business may help raise their standards. Absolutely. Now, that's very true, because there comes a certain stage where you as a business, things become outdated, whether it be the chairs, tables, whether it be just the standards, whether it be just how you want to reinvent yourselves, and you need capital. So 100% correct. A lot of business which start off on the right foot, but then unfortunately they realize we can't afford this, we can't afford that. And then that's where you could argue the service lacks. If you don't have enough staff members, you're going to have kind of a poor customer service type of feel, because at the end of the day, we're not investing in ourselves. So yeah, 100% agreed. And this is why I say we definitely, this Black Pound Day seeks to address a lot of this kind of stuff. by just saying one day or the first Saturday of every month, look, just go into your local store or online store, but just look out for your brother, look out for your sister, look out for your younger brother, look out for your younger sister, look out for the people coming up. Because I'll tell you this, and even from experience, and I'm pretty sure you all can relate, we may see it as something very small or something like, oh, that's minor. Oh, who cares about that? But we do remember the people who do us wrong, and we do remember the people who do us right. And now there may be different degrees of it. We remember more people who do us wrong than the people who do us good if it's smaller, but we do remember that. And that's why one of the reasons why I do believe we do not invest in each other's business, because we remember the wrong that our own people did us in terms of not supporting, in terms of not investing, in terms of, you ain't going to make it, in terms of the negative things, as opposed to, what, bigging ourselves up, encouraging each other, saying, you know what, that's a good idea. How can I help? Even if it's not necessarily financial, even if it's time. And this is something which, again, all counts, all adds up, because people remember those things. That's why I hear it all the time. And unfortunately, it always seems to be the affluent ones, or the ones who seem to make it in areas which we probably don't really recognize in a way, or just in general, people who don't look like me, they help me out the most. That really shouldn't be the case. I'm not saying that they can't help you, don't get me wrong, but we really need to get a better handle on that stereotype. Whether or not that's dwindling down, I'm not too sure, but I still hear it to this day. And that cannot be a lasting impression from our own people. Now, granted, we're likely to converse with our own people more often than not. So we're going to have, negative situations, but we need to have a better balance. That's all I'm saying. So we go to Turkish restaurants, Italian. I'll say this. I do frequent, Chinese restaurants, and I suppose restaurants takeaways, Indian takeaways and stuff. And I'll say this: whether I'm made to feel not welcome, I don't know if I have exactly that, but you can tell you're in a foreign place, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel, it feels weird. It's a weird one to really put down. So I'm thinking that's what you mean. So I do completely understand where you're coming from. There are situations where, like, okay, wow. And you're not trying to put something on what's not there. There's like a feeling or an energy where you're like, okay. But when I go to like Italian restaurants, or if I was to go to some other joints, I don't get that. So maybe it's just those particular types. But I hear what you're saying. But yeah. If we invest in our own business, we can have venues for us. Absolutely. And that's another thing as well in terms of our venues, bro. Now, where I'm at, there's a Marcus Garvey Center. Now, if anyone doesn't know who Marcus Garvey is, then please exit this stream and, basically just end your life right now. Because if you don't know who Marcus Garvey is, then I don't know where you've been living. But there's a Marcus Garvey Center where I'm at, and I didn't even know this. This shows how bad I am. It was on the brink of bankruptcy, collapse. Now, there are certain people in the community, regardless of what you think of them, there's certain places that should never, and I mean this, never, ever been threat of collapse. Now, the Marcus Garvey Center for me is one of those things, one of those places which, whenever we have an annual ceremony each year called the Black Achievers Award, and every single year the Marcus Garvey Center, as far as I'm aware, I've not checked in that sort of few years, but every single year that venue is used in order for that celebration. So that's how obviously, that's how important it is for us in my city, my community, because we know who Marcus Garvey is, what he did for us. We know what his tenets is, regardless of whether you believe him or not. He's a figure. He's up there. Let's be honest. He's a figure. Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King, Maurice Bishop, Marcus Garvey. So when I heard that it was a threat of administration, it didn't have the funds, I was like, my days, this is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. Now it got saved, it's still there, but I'm like, Jesus, this is how bad this. I'm like, man, it really got me like choked up a little bit. That should never happen. There are certain things that should never ever take place, and we need to have this in our minds. Like, you know what? I'm sorry. Regardless of what you think, there's certain things which no. We need to make sure that these kind of businesses or these kind of establishments, they stay the test of time because of what it means to us, or what we say it means. And this is the next thing. We talk a good game about, oh, this is a great leader for us, or this is a great person. But when it comes down to it, I'm like, money talks, BS walks. So when people say a lot of things about, oh, yeah, wherever you spend your money, that tells me what you care about. There's two things, money and time. the majority amount of your time, the majority about your money that you spend, or that you spend when it comes to money and time, that is how I know as a human being what you prioritize the most. So when we talk about these other things, listen, we can find time for the BS that we enjoy. We can find time to spend money on things that we enjoy. We can find times, or find the money when it counts or when it suits us to do things that, you know what, I thought you had no money. I thought you had no time. That's how you know if someone cares about you and what that group cares about. There's situations where, you know what I mean? You ask someone out, you ask a gal on a date and she's like, oh, she's giving it, I don't got time, I ain't got time. Basically means she ain't interested in like that. If someone's interested in like that, guess what? They'll make the time, or they'll come up with a solution. But if someone's wasting your time, or someone's saying this, that, and the other, I'm like this. You already know that person isn't really interested. And as a group, then it means that we're not interested in what we say we are. That's the key. And when I saw the Marcus Garvey Center, I'm like, oh my days. For start, and this is how bad it was. I didn't even realize it was even on that brink. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. We're, as us as a people, we say it, we're good talkers, we're great talkers. And that's the one thing that I hate the most. We talk a good game, we don't do a good enough game, especially for things like this. I was like, phew. But yeah, it's definitely something which I've noticed, and it's something which I'm like, flipping heck. Wherever you spend your money and time on people, that's how you know what that person or people care about. To go for the chat again. So yeah, I hear that. And the thing is, again, we talk about group economics, and I'm thinking to myself, bro, if people clocked on to a lot of opportunities which are in places which people don't like, I'm telling you, man, in about 5-10 years, it will look completely different. But it's all about having that vision. That's something that we kind of lack a little bit, that vision, that ability to look at a situation, opportunity, think, you know what, if that's the case, why don't we do something up here? Why don't we create our own, I don't know, new conclave again, like other groups have done. They've gone up north as well. They're in like Yorkshire. They're in again up north in terms of again Manchester. They're all over the place. Bristol, bro. They're all over the place. Leicester, bro. They will go anywhere they need to go, collect their finances, because they're only here for a situation. They're only here to do what they need to do. Whereas we're care about, nah, I can't be doing that. Bro, I'm telling you, man, it's hilarious when I listen to people. I'm thinking, I get like that a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, I don't really want to go there. Is there any black people there? I do get like this. I ain't gonna lie to you. So I need to get better at it. So I definitely need to get better at it. But yeah, but one of the things which I will say, and this is something which again is something new, and again, we're so bad at marketing the good things that we do. So, or it's not brought to the forefront. So I definitely, going forward in 2022, in terms of my end of year review, my thoughts, I'm definitely going to be promoting more good initiatives that we're doing so people can join. Because this is something which I've clocked on, which I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to share my screen, in which I was like, oh my days, this is really, really, really good. And this is a community, what do you call it, initiative. Well, I can share your screen. So it's called Kwanda. Now, Kwanda is, if anyone knows anything about like partner handles, I think it's called Suso. I think it's like a Ghanaian term or a West African term. But essentially, it's where a group of all of us as people, individuals, we come together and put our money together, whether it be a certain figure every month, every week, depending how whoever runs the partner hand, whoever runs the Suso, depending on how they ever run it, that's what they do. Now, Kwanda is pretty much the exact same situation. There's a couple of different things. Now, it's called Village. You can join the Village, as they call it, and you can invest for as little as £5 a month, and you become a villager. Now, what that does is that it builds the pot. So as you can see here, there's a current pot of, let me just enlarge that a little bit, 61.2 thousand, £61,200. There's 2,100 village accounts, and this is the capital that has been invested as of when this was started. So as you can see, they've invested more than they've currently got, which is great. So that means that they've been going for a long time and people have been contributing. So again, as it says there, you can join our community of villagers by contributing just £5 a month. Of course, I think you can do more. I'm gonna join myself end of this month for sure, just so I can bring you some more insight, because what it allows you to do is it pulls together your own capital, which you as a villager can decide what projects you want to give the money to. So we'll talk about investment, we'll talk about capital, we'll talk about business. Our business aren't getting the investment that it needs. Well, guess what? This Kwanda is a project designed to alleviate that. Again, We don't have to beg anyone for money. We don't have to do anything. We have 300 billion spending power that we can utilize. So imagine if all of us just put in £5, and we can afford more than £5. Most of us, come on, let's not be cheap. We can afford more than that. And guess what we can do when it comes to our own people? Now, this is a worldwide initiative, but it does have UK initiatives. So, for example, look at the initiative that they've completed. So we talk about transparency, we talk about pro-black, we talk about Pan-Africanism, and we talk about all the horrible people who take people's money. Well, guess what? This is something you can put in their face and say, you know what, we are out here. We may not be talking as loudly as you are, but guess what? We're doing more than what you're doing. And we've got proof, we've got transparency, you've got a website there. You can join yourself, you can get all your reports. I'm going to find out myself. But look, 20,000 grant fund for Black-owned small business in the UK. You can view the project, see what it's talking about. So what they're doing here, again, they talk about their mission, what they're doing. They're investing 20K into a Black-owned small business, how they're going to receive it, what's going to happen, what's the eligibility criteria, what's going on. So you have a community here that's dedicated to, guess what, supporting the projects up and coming all across the diaspora. Again, look at this. You've got agricultural projects for families in Rwanda, scholarships for female design students in the whole of Africa. You got, look at that, sustainable menstrual products for 230 girls, clean water. You got all these initiatives which you can contribute to. So we talk about these charities stealing all this money. We talk about all this kind of other stuff. That's fine. But these are things which you can do as an individual, in which you can support your own people. And as a villager, from what I understand, you can also help to say, you know what, can we do this or can we do that? So these initiatives can also come from you as a villager. So these are the things which, again, when we talk about group economics, when we talk about what we can do as a people, these are the things which I've been looking at thinking, you know what, these are good things that we're doing as a people. These are things which, again, if we talk about how to get to the next level up, you know, people talk about leveling up as a community, local, micro, whatever you want to, however you want to disseminate it. This is something which is extremely good. So I would recommend, again, you take your time, have a look at it. Again, this is all if you want to. There's no pressure, no force. I really like the look of it, the feel of it, what it aims to do, what it's looking to do. And again, it saves us from asking other people to help ourselves when we should be helping ourselves first. And it just brings together, again, the whole community in a nice way. And we can do these things which, again, we complain about. We do a lot of complaining. And yeah, let me put the site in the chat just so that yeah, there we go. So that's the site, quanda.co. Please take a look when you got some time. Again, the Trust Pilot is all legit. Again, this is all legit. This is the thing as well, which we always kind of a bit skeptical about. You know, it's all legit. It's verified. Again, you can make a one-time donation. You can do all these kind of things. And again, it's for us as people. So these are kind of things which I'm really big up to them. Big up to the people who did it. Big up to the people who come up with the initiative. It's a massive partner, and that's how I describe it. A massive partner which is designed to help us as people when it comes to businesses, when it comes to water, healthcare, all these little things which we take for granted, which I'm definitely going to try and talk about, because we talk about solutions, and these are the type of solutions which I do believe is necessary, key, and vital for the sustainability of us as a people. And group economics has to be the biggest discussion that we need in regards to how that plays out. Because wherever you spend your money is whoever has, let me say it this way, wherever you spend your money is basically whoever is your slave master, whoever controls you. That's where you spend your money at. Where you spend your money at is who controls you. That's what it is. Now, we can argue about, well, I spend my money where I want to. Maybe true, but at the end of the day, I see a lot of patterns. And the pattern is, so far, is 95% of our money goes outside of our community. So I don't know is there some sort of psychological situation about that? I don't know. I think there's a little bit of psychological issues that goes on with that. Again, we talk about the negativity of our community that we've experienced, so many hang-ups and so many hangovers. It's just crazy. But yeah, Mr. Number One podcast, yeah, man, I absolutely. I mean, again, by all means, have a look at that website, for definite. Have a look to see what they do and how they operate. I'm going to have a look in more detail in the next coming weeks and months, so I can really have a good look at as to how they operate, how they move, how they decide who needs funding. Again, as you can see there was at least one initiative that they were talking about in terms of UK businesses getting the funding. So yeah, have a look at their website, see exactly what the criteria is, because the criteria pretty much was pretty not vague but open. As long as you're a black or mixed business owner and some other things, I think you're registered in the UK. Pretty much, you're in the pot. So I don't know if you're guaranteed to go get it, but at the end of the day, yeah, that's definitely the truth. But no, absolutely. I mean, I would love to hear about your project for definite. So yeah, definitely a lot of work on. So that sounds good, man. That sounds all live. But yeah, so this stream was all about, again, my thoughts on the initiative of Black Pound and how it's in my head, how it's evolved. It's got nothing but positive reviews in terms of how much it's collected over the course of a year. I think it was this year 60 or 70K. I can't be too sure, because the way how they counted it was, you had to, when you bought something from a black owned store, you had to like screenshot the receipt and send it in. So I don't know whether everyone could count it properly, because that way is a bit more manual. So as to whether that is the case, I don't know, and we don't know about normal people who buy in these stores. So it's just like, yeah. But all in all, though, again, I'm really do believe this is a very positive step, in the right direction. And I'll drop the link of Black Pound Day as well, just so you have that website. For some odd reason, in typical black fashion, the website's down, but when it's up, it looks pretty good. I ain't gonna lie to you, it looks good, and you can have a look at so many different avenues as to what we as a people are doing, what we're likely to do, and all this kind of other stuff. It's really good. So again, I would really recommend you take a look at that website also, people. So get involved. One thing I'll definitely will say to people, and this is gonna be my mantra for 2022: are you part of the problem or you're part of the solution? That is it. You can't be lukewarm in these kind of situations. Are you part of the solution or part of the problem? If you're not spending your money with black people, you're spending it elsewhere, which means you are part of the statistic which says 95% of our money goes outside of the community, whichever way you want to shape it, whether it's not in malice, not in love. I get it. There's some things you cannot do or you cannot spend in your own community. Trust me, I get it. But 95%, come on now. There are a lot of things we spend which we need every month. Women products, male products. I know for a fact we can do better at it. But another thing that we have a problem with, I will agree on this, a lot of the stores that we go to which cater for black people aren't owned by black people. So I do have to excuse myself and say there are some legitimate reasons why it's not possible, but we can do better than that. Nah, man, we can do better than that. I'm pretty sure we can do. We just need to be a bit more smarter. Be smarter with how we approach things. Be smarter how we roll. But yeah, power economics, group economics. For me, it all starts with the home, with the family, how you disseminate it, and then it goes from there. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm not going to delay the stream any longer. I'm just going to open up the stream, open up the panel. I just want to get your thoughts on this whole idea of group economics, power economics. Someone mentioned there. If you want to come up and have your say about Black Pound Day, Kwanda, about the future sustainability, how would you really go, and what would your approach be? Because I'm open to have different ideas. What would your approach be? If you have different approaches, it gives us more room for thought and more room for, this actually something we've not thought about. Because, in the digital world, there are things that we probably haven't thought about in the ever-changing world, especially when we talk about NFTs and cryptocurrencies and all these kind of other things, which, is getting a bit of the buzz. Are we missing a trick when it comes to that kind of situation? Are there anyone in our ranks who can sort something out on that angle? I know cryptos, it's a lot of energy consumption. Some of the, like Bitcoin, oh my days, it's crazy how they mine Bitcoin and what's required of it. But is there something in that area which there's so much talent in our community which goes untapped by us as a people, which for me is probably the most disheartening thing, because when you have talent which gets untapped by us, other people see it and think, especially when it comes to music industry. We talk about music industry, that's a big one, isn't it? And whenever it comes to underground stuff, even in nowadays, when it comes to underground things, it's always a case of, okay, underground, it's more yes. But when it comes to mainstream, this is where you come into prominence. Guess what? The music gets watered down because they almost go over to the other side, or some people they don't get that kind of, maybe that love or from their own people anymore. And it's because we don't sometimes see the potential until, guess what? Somebody else comes in, swoops in, takes them out, dresses them down, cleans them up, and then there we go. They represent them to the world, and then it's like, oh, you're doing this. I'm like, well, unfortunately, did we do that? Did we invest the time? Did we invest the patience? Did we do all that kind of stuff? I don't think we did. Or maybe we didn't do it to a good enough situation. I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of things to consider. Do they have more of the market share in this situation? They may do, they may not do. So a lot of things which I've just retrospectively looking at things, I'm like, we probably just have a bit of a job in our hand just to make sure that we can, cater to our own people as best as we can do. I forgot the names of the two Asian gentlemen who bought Asda. I'm pretty sure you guys. Let me just Google this right now. The people who bought out Asda from the US, they bought out by two brothers who they started in they're from Blackburn. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, two billionaire brothers from Blackburn. They've won the battle to buy Asda from Walmart of the US, 6.8 billion. So they bought Asda from the US chain, which was originally Asda, obviously British, but they went to Walmart. They bought it 6.8 billion. They took it, it's back British Asian, but it's still British. But these guys have managed to buy this kind of stuff, and it's crazy. It's crazy. And they started off with petrol stations. Asians, Arabs, they do have petrol stations, so that might be a leg up on us. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's what it is. It's what it is. All right. Sorry, but I cannot pronounce your name. So I don't want to mispronounce it. Sister, sorry, even still. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You got a black screen. I don't know if that's what you wanted to, though.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to be honest.
All right, cool. But yeah, I don't know how long you've been listening to the stream and everything, so I don't know.
No, I just came in actually about 5 minutes ago. Yeah.
Okay. So
when I started to say it's me, MYP podcast, it's me.
Got you. Yes.
So how is everything?
Yeah, it's good. So in terms of the topic, then, do you know what the topic is? I kind of just it's based on the topic of
it's about economics, group economics, African group economics.
Yeah, in the Black community tour. So it's just about what we're doing over here in terms of group economics and how the Black Pound Day seeks to strengthen that whole position.
Yeah, man.
So that's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think it's a very good initiative for you to have this little stream talking about this, because it's important, and we need more people than just me and you speaking about these issues, and we need more people being involved in this as well. As I said, I have a server as well where I've invited as many as I can to try to connect us as Africans in Africa and abroad, and also try to unite us in economics. Sorry for the
screaming kid. No. I know that's really good. I would really appreciate if you put it in the private chat. So I don't know how, is it like a Discord server or whatnot. But if you want, I'll happy connect with like-minded people. If it's a different server, but yeah, that sounds really, really good and really awesome for like-minded people to come together. So yeah, for sure, drop me the details in the private chat.
Yeah, most definitely. I will most definitely give you the server name, and hopefully we can discuss more, because I have a lot of projects that I want to create. As I showed you on my petition as well. I sent you a link to my petition. If you want to, you can go in there. You can check the petition and everything that I want to do. It's like a 10-point plan that I already have.
Oh wow!
For certain things that I want to do in the future in the continent, wherever it is. If it's in wherever it is in Africa, I just want to start building village by village. That's what I want to do.
No, I like that. Now, did you put that in the chat?
I will. Yeah, I have actually put it on the chat, but I don't know if you can see it.
Because I think links might get, if you're not a mod, links will get.
Yeah. They won't be. Yeah. Let me see.
Let me again put in the private chat. See if you can do that in the private chat, and then what I can do is I can put it in the main chat. I mean, again, just want to clarify. You're happy for everyone else to have a look at the petition as well. It's not like
most definitely, man. Most definitely. Yeah, as many people can actually be in. I've sent you the link now, I think, on the private chat. Sorry.
All right. No, it's all good. It's all good. Let me just see whether it's all
right. In the background. Sorry.
No, right. Okay. No, I've got it perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it in the chat for everyone else to definitely, if you've not already, definitely have a look at this. I mean, if it's okay for you as well at some point in the future, I would love to probably I can have a one-on-one on my channel at some point if you're down for it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, most
just
definitely.
So we can get into some of the meat of some of the stuff. Because I'm just quickly glancing on it, and it looks really, really good. And a lot of these things are quite I'll say this: they're big projects. They're not like some small things. So
No.
it's gonna
They're
be
big, but I want to start small. So I want to start village by village, as the same concept, village by village. So everything, the pictures that I have is made out of my friend, an architect from Nigeria. He actually made those pictures for me. So all of these things are actually things that people actually helped me with. So as a community, I wanted us to, form a strong community that we can also, contribute with what we can do for this future, because we are the future generation. We can actually change things by, as you said, power economics, by using our economic force or our actually our consumption force, or as a means of consumption. We can actually do a lot with our money if we spend it right, if we spend it wherever we're supposed to spend it, just like other people do. They help each other. They make their money go around. Even though they don't, spend time with you as a friend, they'll still go to your shop and buy from you because they know that money is going to come back to them. So that's the thing we need to think. Our mentality has to change. It's a lot of things that needs to change, but it's a whole paradigm that needs to be changed in order for us to change wherever we want to change in this world. Yeah.
no.
Sorry for talking too much.
No. You're a guest, so you know what I mean. It's all good. I've been talking for like an hour, so yeah, you can definitely
Okay.
you can definitely talk as long as you can, as long as your child is all good. But
Yeah.
no. I 100% agree about that. In terms of, again, we can change it. We have the power to change it. I think it's a case of we just need to connect with the right people, spend the money rightly. I like how you said that. I didn't really say that in my stream, and I appreciate you saying that the right way, in the right
Yeah.
way.
In the right way.
Yeah.
Yes. Spend it on you, or spend it on your friend, because your brother is your brother, bro. I mean, we need to start working with each other, instead of, like you said, it's like a mental barrier that's there. That's when we see a brother, trying to make it, I don't know what's wrong. Like, seriously, it's like a crab mentality that we need to actually, destroy. It's like a crab mentality. That's what I see.
Well, this I was gonna sort of ask this question and probably go into about why
Yeah.
is that? Is there something which we see? How do I say it? Ourselves as maybe as if it's a product which is built by somebody else, we see it in higher esteem than maybe
Yeah.
ourselves, even if we got the exact same talent or even more talent, but because it comes from a foreigner, if like we see it
Mhm.
differently. Could that is that reason you may? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like others looking at us as exotic. Everything we do is exotic. Everything we do is like, whoa. But if they do something, we think that exotic. We want to know about them. We want to know about their culture. We want to know about them. We learn their language, but we're not actually looking in. We're not looking inwards. We're not looking in the continent. We're not looking at our own culture, our own legacy, our own languages, because we have more than 3,000 languages. We have more than 3,000 different cultures in Africa. We're the most diverse continent on earth. I mean, we should actually look in instead of looking out. That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree. I mean, one of the things which I'll say from a Caribbean perspective, I don't know if it's saying for maybe Africans who move over from diaspora, is that a lot of our parents and
Yeah,
grandparents would have tried to teach us more to fit in with the wide demographic of like in Britain, speak English. So don't worry about anything else, speak English. So a little bit like you say, we sort of lose our cultural identity because we're trying to fit in. And over the years and over the generations, it just becomes we're just the same as a white Brit, or you know what I mean?
yes,
Because we've lost our
exactly.
bit of our cultural identity when it comes to, especially a lot of things.
Yeah,
So I don't know if that's the same for like Africans in the same way, but I do know a lot of British Africans who don't speak their mother tongue. Um, and they're only one generation deep. It's not like they're 4 or 5 generations deep. They're one generation deep. I'm like, ooh, that's I don't know how they feel about that, but it is what it is.
yeah, most definitely. And I'm with you 100%. This is the reason why because the thing is, I don't even know my native languages like
Really?
100%. I can't speak them. No, I can't speak them 100%. Because that's the type of culture we've been taught. When we come to a place, we need to learn the language. We need to be, adapting to the environment. We need to adapt to the society and the system that we're in. It's weird. I don't understand. Why we can't actually, have that diversity within us to learn our own. heritage, our own languages, instead of always trying to appropriate others, always trying to be something else, when we can actually go and look inwards, because we have so much culture, we have so much knowledge that is so lost.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And one thing which I'll definitely will say about that is that's probably explains why, in terms of financial power, we do pretty much the same thing, where we look outwards instead of, what, like language. We can learn a foreign language is fine, but make sure we learn our own language first and then learn other languages. It's not as if we can't do both. It's not as if kids aren't sponges. So yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, I got Kale and Dev on the panel. Welcome both. First time for all of you on the panel, to be fair. So welcome. Hope you're having a good evening. I don't know who wants to start first.
How you doing, my brother? Greetings to the African family. I was in one of the groups, and a good lady sent this link, and I've been listening to it. It's a very interesting show, especially with the economics, something that we need to unpack. So yeah, greetings to you and Arshay.
Yeah, thanks. Now, I don't know how much you've caught of the stream. I was talking about, well, the backdrop is about Black Pound Day. So I'm hoping you know about Black Pound Day, in terms of it's a monthly initiative, first Saturday of every month, where the ask is to basically prioritize spending money in the black, whether it be online, offline, stores, prioritize that so we can basically big up our own, again, group economics. And it was just basically talking about, that's how we do need to really start rolling better, but that's a start. So I don't know, what do you think about that type of initiative? Do you partake in that kind of stuff, or do you, I don't know, what's your view on that?
Oh yeah, I definitely participate in the group economics. Growing up, as parents, they raised us on Garveyism, the
Okay.
Pan-Africanism. So there's a lot of organizations, as well as funding. I don't like to speak on these types of things, because it could fall into showing off. But definitely collectively, those who know about the Pan-Africanist movement, especially the Garveyism, it's something that you have to participate in. There is something that I would like to share with you, is that I agree with everything what you were saying. However, there needs to be a campaigning that needs to basically show the horrors to Black people globally. But if we're talking of the UK, what happens when we don't collectively, put forward our agenda? I'll give an example. I remember when I was in university, and one of my roommates was a non-African, and we were talking about different types of ethnic tribes, and how things have progressed in ancient times.
Yeah.
And we moved on to the economics, and he said something very interesting. He says that as a non-African, he was Asian. He says that his best customers to his family, but as it pertains, he was referring to the Asian people, was African descendants.
Oh, okay.
And I said to him, why are they your best customers? And what he said was very interesting. He says that when it comes to our people, they're very stingy and understand how to reap from each other. But what he says when it comes to African people, and he says, I don't mean to be disrespectful, is that they more lean towards the acceptance of being liked with their money, instead of retracting their money from those who don't look like them. And that was very interesting. And that was like, I was in university, in the late 90s, but it's very interesting how they understand our disorganization and how they use that against us.
Yeah, no, that's actually very deep. And funny enough, when you said that, it reminds me of a lot of conversation I had about, it's a stereotype now, how the Indian shop owner is tight. He won't let you get away with £1, or their movement is very different. Because I know when I back at school, I know Asian friends who get hookups from, whether it be whoever owns a store. So they have I do hear what you're saying in terms of they have a different type of mindset in terms of how to basically get more dollar for their buck, as opposed to what probably we do. We don't understand it as much. So they're like, oh, come in, because I can probably, would the fair thing be rip you off? Would that be a fair way of saying it? Is that fair?
Yeah, most definitely. That's fair, bro. Anything is fair, bro. They were using economics against us for years, you know. So we need to start using that as well as a consumption power. We need to use it. You know, that's the only actually means that we can use to actually put forward the things that we want to do in the future. So most definitely, yes.
Yeah. No, I agree. Um, let's go on to panel. Dev, welcome to the stream. First time. How
Hey,
are you?
thanks, man. I'm doing great. How's everybody?
Yeah, doing well, man. Doing well. So, what are your thoughts
Awesome.
so far?
Just some great ideas there, but what people need to realize that these people study us and they recognize that how we treat one another, and they capitalize on that through business. I mean, example, my mother bought a washing machine a few days ago from a Syrian. Now, when he brought the washing machine, she didn't like it, but she already paid him some of the money.
Mm.
So she told him, come and take it back and give her back her money. She got a better deal elsewhere. You know, he turned and cursed her out
Oh,
because,
really?
yeah, because she keep asking him for her money. Oh, only $100. I was like, so you understand how these people view money. Not his money, you know. He owe her. And she's calling him, when am I going to get my money? Are you coming and drop it off today? He literally cuss her out. The point I'm making is that we as a people have to understand the power we have with our money, because we spend the most money, but we spend it in the wrong places. We don't support our own the way we're
Yeah, man.
supposed to.
Most definitely.
We will quicker run to an Indian store, a Chinese store, a white man's store and buy something and pass our brother and sister on the side of the road who have a tray
Yeah,
or
man.
have a little stall with the same thing.
100%, bro.
So we have
100%
to
correct.
understand the power. It's not that we don't have money, you know, because we spend the most money. But what the other nations understand is that we don't use our economic financial foundation to uplift our people. We rather make other people rich and we stay in that position. It's a psychological thing.
It is.
No, it is. And one thing I was going to say on that is knowing that we spend majority of our money outside of our people. Then my question becomes: do you think that shows other groups that we don't even respect ourselves? So why should other groups even respect us?
Precisely. That's why he can curse out for our own money.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? That's why he can
That's-
curse out for our own money.
and it should never be that way.
Exactly.
She should get she should get respect in regards to that
Exactly.
as anyone else should. But again, because we don't, and the thing is, they know it, don't they? Let's be honest.
Come on,
Other groups
come
know
on.
exactly what it is. They know you're not going to go anywhere else. You know exactly your habits. They know
They
who your
study us.
customer is. Yeah, everyone knows their consumer base, or every good business person knows their consumer base. If we're not respecting ourselves, then you know what? We're basically telling everyone else, why would you respect us? That's why
Why?
we always talk about cultural appropriation or people taking this. Well, we kind of don't
Yeah,
respect our own culture, our own people, do we? If we do this,
And I was gonna say as well, that the Honorable Marcus Garvey says that a race without authority and power is a race without respect. And one of the things I've noticed is that the Honorable Marcus Garvey, he spoke about these three key points that are very valuable that all non-African people more or less use. But he spoke about that you need to nationalize your economics, nationalize your culture, and nationalize your political agenda. And I've noticed that
Can you
we
just
are
explain
very,
that? Sorry, can you just explain those three things? Just so when you say
yeah.
nationalized, just so I know
So,
what you're saying.
so the Honourable Marcus Garvey, right? There's two types of nationalism. You've got the nationalism who believes that his country and his being is better than everybody else, and you've got the nationalist who believes in independent, away from oppression. And the Honourable Marcus Garvey, a brilliant genius, understood that all the other races practice nationalism. They practice nationalism in their media, in their education, um, in their real estate, in their, whatever field they seem to be in, even when it comes to marriage or even some form of sexual orientation or behavior, is that they'll nationalize it. In other words, they'll put their nature before the titlement. And he understood that very well. And what I noticed in the UK, for example, you had a revolution by the name of Althea Jones. She was a brilliant revolutionist queen from the Black Panther movement from Trinidad, and she organized in Brixton, and we're grateful for that movement. But at the same time, is that nationalism is the way that's going to protect the black pound, the black euro, and the black dollars. It's almost as if like it's a shield that the moment a non-African person comes in your presence, you have a shield to feed them off. But if you have like a multicultural shield, so to say, is that they can always use certain tactics to get into your infantry to reap your black pound, reap your black euros, and reap your black dollars, unfortunately.
No, that all makes sense, and it's definitely something where we are lacking. I know. One question I wanted to ask about. You said you're a Garveyite, and obviously we know about his tenets in Pan Africanism. I've actually got a book about the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey. You must be a minority in a minority, surely, when it comes to Garveyism.
Most definitely, that's a very interesting question you asked as well, because a lot of us as African descendants don't realize that it's always been a small group that has led the revolution. If you look at the just an example of the Abrahamic African prophets, for example, there's always been a small group that's followed the message for liberation. So as grown up as Garveyism, it has been very difficult because as you know, that a lot of us are not synchronized.
No.
And you will hear, for example, colorism, tribalism, which colorism and tribalism, they are one and the same. And you'll hear these gender competitive against the African man, the African woman. You'll hear all these types of unsynchronized behaviors that as a Garveyite can be very difficult to maneuver. But what I've had to do, me and my brothers, growing up, is that you have two choices. You either submit to the unsynchronized calling, or you go and call yourself, and you would always find like-minded people that they necessarily don't have to be of your background growing up in regards to Pan-Africanism, but as long as there's a code of conduct where like we can unite on building for black people, that has definitely helped out growing up.
No, I really, really do enjoy the fact that you've still stayed the course, because you mentioned how you obviously have to try and find like-minded people, but especially depending on when you grow up, it might be in these online spaces a lot easier, I would say, but it's it's still difficult in your daily life if you're not synchronized to sort of, our people aren't synchronized. Let's just I suppose walk the path that a lot of other people have made. So no, I do appreciate the fact that you still sound strong. I'm in it, so I do like that. One thing you did mention, which I wanted to sort of ask the panel, is you was mentioning that we should be things like this, and tying into how we need to be more synchronized. We should be campaigning. So how I'm hearing, and this is kind of thing which I do believe we're not as good as in terms of how to synchronize. Are we aware of what we're doing? Are we aware of the initiatives that we're doing? Are we out there loud in people's faces for these types of things? Do we need to be better at marketing campaigning to make sure that we can say to our people, here we are, this is our agenda, please basically join us, a call to arms?
Bro, that's the only thing I need to learn actually, is to get better on marketing and stuff like that. My ideas are I think they are profound. It's just that I need first I need a platform that I'm building right now, and then not only that, I need a good I need help doing the marketing bit, because I have everything in my mind, but I can't, I need to reach more people. You understand? That's the thing. My petition that I have is profound. I know that for sure, but it only has reached around 166 people. And the thing is, I want to start a GoFundMe, baby. I think that's better to just start to get funds for the project itself, because I think that's better than just making a petition. My petition I wanted to do is actually just to make a petition that I want to send to the AU to make them understand that, we need some change in Africa, first of all, and then also bring in a power group of around 50 people or more to just sit down and, start to build the continent back again. That's what I want to do from the first beginning. But the thing is, I need funds, so I don't have that. I need a good marketing strategy. I don't have that. So these are the things. It's a new age. I'm not good at, computers like that, as, being on the streets, talking to people. I used to be a very good salesperson. So I like to speak to people more, and I like to engage more than sitting in front of a computer doing marketing every day. It feels so counterintuitive. So that's why I need help, bro. I need more people. I need my brother's help.
No, I hear that. And one of the things which it brought to mind is we have a show, Dragon's Den, which I don't know if you've heard it or seen it. Yeah, we almost see like our version, and that Kwanda that I've shown on there is almost what you looked at. That's almost a bit like a Dragon's Den, which is you pitch your ideas or pitch your plans, and then they can hopefully say, okay, we do want to invest, we don't want to invest, or however it works. So no, I hear that. So no, that's we need something like that. That's what it is, which is hopefully what that provides.
But I think the marketing is not a bad idea. But if we're going to change Africa, we need to get some powerful people who can change things from the top. Pass some resolution, pass some things. Because the system that is working over there is really keeping our people down.
Yeah.
So we need some people inside there who have the same thinking like us, who can make the change from in there and let it, trickle down. It's good that we, doing a campaigning in the bottom, but remember these people up there, they hold high position. By a stroke of a pen, a lot of things can change.
You're right.
So we have to get into position where there is power, so we can effect changes. So I'm saying, yes, we have a lot of good ideas here, but the people who are in power there, who is controlled by my thinking, is that they've been controlled by the West.
Most definitely.
We need to have some people in there, probably get them out, if possible. We should have our own party or whatever it is to get that change that we need. Because we alone trying to do it on the ground with the campaigning, it can only reach so far. And when we get to the constitutional part of it, these people have the power.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So we need to get in there.
What I've noticed is what the gentleman was saying about the leaders. If the opposite of hope is despair, then we can definitely look at it from that aspect. When it comes to the strategizing, and as a guy, right, we always believe in political science is very important. You have to understand political science and military science. But when it comes to the leaders, they are in despair and do not believe that the people them are going to back them. and we seem to forget about that, is that there's a reason why they've ended up in that situation. They've fell into despair. And the despair is that no one is going to connect together to destroy white supremacy. So I might as well join them for the ride. And one thing that we must not do as a people is have, and I don't mean to disrespect no one in here, is suffer from the prophet syndrome, where we rely on one individual to solve the issue, whereas we should all be political scientific, that if the leader is not doing what he's supposed to be doing, it should not affect the collective from strategizing. And I think we need to understand that, is that the leaders are there for a reason. We have failed our collectiveness and they're falling to despair. So if we're going to get them on board for them to trust us, then we're going to have to work underground. So when they see that we are politically scientific, then they will know that if I'm willing to betray white supremacy, who has put me in charge, the people then will defend me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Most definitely. 100% K.
And I think, do you know the reason why I think that happens? I don't know if you agree or disagree. Is because we kind of have a backwards way of appointing our leaders. They become like self-appointed as opposed to the people then select. And therefore, if they mess up or if they don't serve, because they should serve us as a people, the leaders. It's like we seem to have this situation where leaders are kind of self-appointed based on, let's say, their gravitas. They're good orators. They're great speakers. They're great performers. As opposed to saying, like a political union, the people should vote them in a sense. It may not be an actual vote, but we should have the power, the control, so we can say, look, if you serve us, you serve us. If you don't, then guess what? As quickly as you got up there, we can also replace you with another one who will serve our interests. That's kind of how, I don't know if you agree or disagree with that. When I see certain leaders they always seem to be self-appointed, not actual leaders who we appoint.
See, the people don't know the power they have. And what happens is that the people sometimes forget that these leaders work for them and they have the power, but the leaders play mind games with them. You see, once you keep them poor, they'll always come to you. See what I'm saying? The leaders don't want to uplift the people. Let's get this straight. They don't want to uplift and motivate and put the majority of people in better position, because then they wouldn't have the control they have over them. So the strategy was to keep them poor as much as possible, much of them as much as possible, so they can come to me. And once you're coming to me, I have an advantage over you. So in other words, you forget that I am working for you because you're coming to me now and begging me for this and begging me for that. Come on, there's some power in that. So I think if the people understand the power that they have, and those people are working for them, and whatever they do, they're obligated to do it. That's the reason why we're put there. You're not doing me a favor. But that's how the politics run. The people think that the politician doing them a favor. And I think that's where they keep them where they are. That's why they can
we have
come
to we have to put them in accountable. You have to put them
in check every time.
Exactly.
And once they mess up, come on, your slaughters move out. Somebody else move in. But I think we don't vote for policies and for people who can make a change. We vote for who we like or who can give us something. See what I'm saying? If the people
100%.
have to realize that, look, if I'm going to vote for this guy, I need to know what is he bringing to the table that can help my community, my country on a whole. What is he going to do to help us? It's not you come in and tell me I'm going to give you a house here, a fridge, and then you go in and billions are passing through your hand and the country is not benefiting from it. As a brother, so we have to understand the politics.
100%. And I also want to tell you about my own experience when it comes to politics itself. Me and my friends, I think it was 2011, we formed an organization called the Panthers in Sweden, if you know about that country. And we formed the organization. The reason why we formed the organization was to actually get people more politically involved. So when we formed this organization, what we did was actually occupying the politician's office and letting them actually understand the people's power within the area itself, within our own council. We took over that. We took over the meeting as people, and we made them understand. You were chosen by us. You 11 people are chosen by us. We need to listen to what we are saying as people in this area. We paying tax, but you guys don't even live here, and you making decisions above our own heads. Yeah, I have 3 documentaries actually. I can show them to you guys, and you can look at them as well. That's my background in politics, so I know exactly what you're saying when it comes to politicians. They always come out whenever they're supposed to get votes. That's when they come out. That's when they come out and say, "Hey, that's me."
Yes.
Yeah. But then after you voted for them, you're not going to see them. They're just going to be inside making decision above your head, and you're going to sit there saying, "What the hell just happened? I chose this guy, and the guy just backstabbed me, bro." So
Yep.
that's I understand exactly what you're saying, Deb, and hopefully I can show you these 3 documentaries. I let you understand my political background as well. Thank you.
Okay.
No, sounds good. Sounds good. I definitely would love to have a look at it at some point for
Most
sure.
def.
There's a comment on here which I don't know. I want to get your opinion on. Which African Caribbean diaspora talk says, well, the political apathy in the Caribbean is high. The citizens bear half the blame with the leaders. So, what do you think about that comment? Do you see it as? I know we mentioned we don't really understand the power that we have as people in terms of, well, we have the power to elect or unelect. Do you think the citizens bear half the blame? How do you split the two?
Living in the Caribbean and from the Caribbean, she has a strong point.
Okay.
And it's throughout the Caribbean, not just one island in the Caribbean.
Mm.
The politics are the same throughout the Caribbean. If you go to different islands in the Caribbean, it's the same game. You may just have a new player, maybe in 5 years, or if they last that. But I think the trick that I told you, what they do, they make the people think that they have to depend on them and not they are working for me. And whatever they do, they're obligated to do. I do have to thank you for it. That is why you've been put there. So don't come on TV and expect me to big you up and all this, and then blow smoke up your butt and all this crap. You're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we put you there.
Yeah.
What I've noticed as well with the leaders that white supremacy elect is that they're always charismatic. They always have a self-love in themselves. They always seem to have a religious background, which captivates the people. All of them are scared of Europeans, easily controlled, greedy ego, and always has a connection with the previous leader. These are very interesting attributes that I've noticed the enemies of the revolution. So, for example, when we're talking about Thomas Sankara, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, unfortunately, Barack Obama and the rest of them, they seem to always have the enemies of the revolution who's trying to liberate us. They always seem to have these characteristics, which plays back in what you were saying, why it matters. You're saying about the people should not be the leader shouldn't be electing the people. Well, it's very interesting you said that, because there's an interesting book called the Destruction of the Black Civilization by William Chancellor.
I've got that book. I've been reading it. It's a very good book. Yeah,
It's very good. And I don't know if you've gone past the page where he talks about our democracy in ancient times. You know how the African woman, she was taught womanism, African womanism, as well as political science.
Yep.
The African boys were taught political science and how to hunt. But he also says that the collective, right, they would elect a leader not because the leader was more powerful than them, but to channel a great energy as well as to speak on the economics. However, they still had that power over that leader. Now it's swapped now. Now it's the other way around. And because it's the other way around, which is why I understand where the Honorable Marcus Garvey has made it clear that we have to understand political science. We have to understand racism, the unethical code of conduct that non-African people use with their face expression, with their mannerism, with their body language, as well as the characteristics which they put themselves in, whether it's a bigot, whether it's socialism, religion, sexual orientation, behavior, or gender. We have to understand political science. If we understand that, then we can start to use the economics as what the gentleman was saying. Definitely we have to study those things. Definitely.
But would you guys say the school system is set up to keep us where we are in that
Most definitely.
mindset?
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. It's the curriculum itself is made. It's all a setup at the end of the day. But we still go to the institution. We still study
Pay
because
a
we
lot of
have to.
money.
Yeah, we have to. We have to still study. We still need to study. The thing is,
But let me, let
the
me, let
thing
me, let me ask
is,
this, let me ask this question. Sorry to cut you. Let me ask this because when white supremacy, that whole term comes out, I get a little bit. It's almost a way of trying to like other groups who are non-white. Again, I use the other ethnic groups.
yeah,
They still are educated in the UK. A lot of them come to the UK to get their UK degrees or
yeah.
US degrees or whatever it may be to get that prestige. But how is it they've been able to navigate better than we have? Is there a difference? I was going to ask Kale this question. Is there a difference in how they have interpreted the institution or how they've internalized it to what we are, where they can still maneuver? If you see what I mean? Because China's poised to do something crazy. They've always been poised, but you see what I mean? But they still come over here and they still take our education, do this, do that. So I was a bit like, is that another excuse in talking point, or is it a case of we can do it? It's another issue.
Ah, they
I
have
think it's
privilege.
yeah.
It's to do with privilege. It's privilege because I look at it as we go to the same university, did the same course, sometimes get the same passes, come out on top together. But you gonna get a job faster than I do because of your color or your nation you come from. So I look at it as privilege. We don't have certain privilege as dark skinned African people. And they literally design it that way. Because remember, our job was to come and build up England and America and these places and ship us to hell back home. But it didn't work out that way. So the system that they set up, it wasn't for us. It wasn't for us. That was for their system, for their people. We just happened to be within that system because they cultured us in that system. They school us, they feed us, etc. in that same system. But it wasn't designed for us. So
A hundred percent.
when I look at it as we are trying to come out on top, a great majority of us in a system that wasn't designed for us.
Now let me play devil's advocate here because I think I said this in my stream in my monologue that you're right. A system, the UK, the US, it should be designed for people who don't look like us because it's their creation. But I suppose you always hear this a lot. I'm sure you've heard this. Um, you have so many successful black people, Africans, dark skin, however you want this, or whatever your term is, who reside in this oppressive system. Does that not give credence that we can we can work the system. We can absolutely succeed. It's just we're not organized. That's the difference. It's not about what they're doing. It's about what we're doing. If you see what I mean, or we're not doing,
Oh,
shall I say?
you are right about that because we seem to forget as well is that, and as what the gentleman devil was saying, we forget that it wasn't just the Arabs who were involved in the slavery. It was also the East Indians, the Roman Catholic. It was also the Church of England, and it was also the Jewish community that was participating into it. You know, we're the only people, unfortunately, that, you know, the whole human race ganged up upon us, right?
Yep.
To formulate this type of system. And Benjamin Franklin, who was a white supremacist, he quotes, he says that, how are we going to destroy a people who love their women, they love their men, they have great political science and military science, and they immerse into their culture? And he mentions in his book that we have to remove the identity and swap around their spirituality, and we have to destroy the gender equality. And when it comes to some of us succeeding, brother White Matters, is that these are charitable things what they do to confuse us, to make us believe
Yes.
different types of black people and different types of non-African people. And the thing is as well is that when it comes to all non-African people, a lot of us don't seem to understand this, is that they all practice an unethical code of conduct by generalizing all of us. If
Yeah.
they are using one of us to make us believe that we can succeed, at the end result, it's to destroy us. They've been doing this for so many years, so many centuries. And when we focus on the individualism, because that's what they're trying to do, it removes our collective mindset. If
Yeah.
one of us are succeeding and none of us are, we should look at that as a bad, bad,
Yep.
bad
A
move.
downfall. No, he's right because
100%.
no,
100%.
because he's right because if you look at those that we quote, that we call successive, successful, quote unquote, what are they doing to help us who are not?
Well, this is what I was
What are
going to
they
say.
doing?
This is what I was going to say. Is it because we're not, again, we are individualism, not collectivism? We've gone from our ways. Is that the reason why? Because surely we don't need we only need a few people in a sense to sort of what's the word, to get the group together. You see what I mean? I'm just like, is that what it is, or is it something? I mean, you guys saying it's like something deeper.
No,
Just
you got to look at it from the perspective of even though our brothers and sisters get successful, they are successful in their system, in their hierarchy successfulness. Yeah. And what goes on up there? Typical example. I know a guy who grew up in the hood together,
Mhm.
coming to some little fortune, and he moved away from the neighborhood and go and live in the gated neighborhood. And he don't come around no more. He don't even want to associate with the guys who he grew up with. And I'm telling you from experience because I live in a residential area where there are billionaires and millionaires living. And you have to understand the rich, which is the 1%, control the politicians. I used to sit next door, my house on the other side and the other across the road, and seeing the prime minister going to my neighbor, having cocktail party, etc., etc. The man is a billionaire. Yeah, just
Yep.
let just let something happen there. Within 3 seconds, you see about 3 police cars pull up. Well, let that same thing happen in the hood. We can't get vehicle now. We coming, we coming. 5 hours later, you're not seeing them. So when you understand how they treat one class to another, Those who get rich and up there, you think they'll want to go and live in the ghetto and pull anybody up because they see the protection that these people have from the government itself. You know what I'm saying?
No, is a valid point, and it makes it even worse when you're a minority, because a lot of times when you goes in when you're in those gated communities, they're likely to look not like you. And I suppose what I was going to ask you, Dev, and everyone else is, so would you say then when that individual becomes successful, they take on the mantle of the
The
oppressor?
the
So
mindset.
yeah, the mindset.
Exactly.
So and they say, well, I need to stay because I want to protect my assets, which
Exactly.
human, the survival. Um, they then become the oppressor class. Like even when it comes to like a lot of Caribbean African nations, I've again correct me if I'm wrong. It feels like the same thing. The political class who has all the access to the resources, they become the oppressor class.
Yes,
It's
they are.
like
Precisely.
I don't
You're
want to. I want
correct.
to hold on to everything.
You're correct. And they don't give it to the nationals. They give it to once you're a foreigner and you have money, and in my country, I could speak for my country, Grenada. Once you have a bag of money and you're from England, America, France, well, I wouldn't say my prime minister. The prime minister of my country, he will give you privilege. He will never give his own people.
Yeah, I do hear
Yeah,
a lot about that. I think I call it is it CBI or something like that in the Caribbean, which run rampant
I
there.
call it robbery.
Robbery, yeah, a lot of rich people there buy up assets and they promise to build up the
And they don't.
and they don't, and they leave it just deserted, and it's yeah. And but because the rich, the politicians are in bed with them, I hear a lot of that kind of stuff. So
So if you understand the system, how the system have shaped some of us mind. When you're rich, you're important. You're somebody. Once you don't have money, you don't. You're what they call poor. You're nobody. And this is what our people dealing with. To be somebody, you have to, even though you're rich and you do something wrong, people will still look at, no, but he's a millionaire, he's a billionaire. Nah, man, he could get away with that. But if it's one of my brothers and sisters, lock you up and throw the key away. So you understand the mindset.
I do, but I suppose it raises another question again, just playing devil's advocate. Is it more about then your wealth as opposed to necessarily the color of your skin? Because equally, the wealthy elite, the black bourgeoisie, or however you want to call it, they're equally as protected as you could argue the white bourgeoisie. But is it more of a classism?
It's a
Issue?
classism in the sense of because Grenada was a very racial country.
Mhm, mhm.
Back in the 50s and 60s, our dark skinned brothers and sisters could not get a job in the bank.
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
Yep. The kind of high jobs, they couldn't get it. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So you have that colorism way before you and I came in the world. It's still existing today. They gonna let one or two of us in, but you don't have the same privilege as the white. Even though you live in the same community, has the same money. And I'm telling you from experience. Because I mean we was dark skinned people living in that neighborhood there. And these people look at us as Scott. They will pass and turn up their nose and wind up the glass when they're driving through. Because they had to pass my gap to get out to go to the road.
Oh wow! I mean,
And I,
yeah, I do hear that from where my grandma was living. She was telling me about a lot of things that happened in the Caribbean, well, especially islands that she was from, where it would be the lighter skin who would be, I don't know, ones in the banks, one who would get the job secretaries, the ones who would
yeah,
do all that, whereas the darker ones, yeah, they were. So no, I do hear that for sure, and it's sad because let's be honest, it's a majority dark islands. I know they're a mixture of depending on what island you go to. There are different types of cultures and ethnicities there, but it's still a black nation. So
but it
it's
still happened
yeah,
today.
yeah.
It still happened because a girl, a young girl just came out of school, dark school. I mean, she got a lot of subjects. And because of her complexion, she didn't get the job. Another girl who from a village called Mount Morris, because we call him Mount Mount. those very light skin, we call them Mugbo.
Mm.
She came from that village because back in the days, those people had all the big jobs. 'Cause that village was only light skinned people. And she didn't get the job because of her complexion. The child cried as a baby. The point I'm making, if you understand the system that the politicians are pushing based on who controls them, is literally to keep our people down. There's nothing to empower our people. They give you one or two little things here and there to make you feel that they're doing something. But overall, the people are not moving forward. We have a lot of concrete jungle. Everything is concrete, concrete, concrete. But where is the motivation and the uplifting of the people so they can move from one level mentally to another level where they can support themselves?
No,
They,
I definitely hear you. And one thing I was going to say then is, so thinking about in terms of solutions or what can be done to change that, because it seems like, again, well, it's not, we've had systems, we've had revolutions. Marcus Garvey had his program, which is still to date the largest ever organization in regards to the movement of Black people collective to date, and that was how many years ago it was. So the question I have then is, how are we thinking, and are we in analog mode in the digital era? So are we still thinking of the old ways? Have we actually moved into a new era? Have we changed our thinking to change with the new system? So what is a solution, would you say, going forward? Are we still thinking analog when we're in a digital area? What are you thinking? What are your
The
thoughts?
solution would be, brother, and it's no different than how it was before, is what the Honorable Marcus Garvey says. Whatever field or whatever government you are in, or whatever institution you're in, you must bring three things with you, right? You must bring your economics, you must bring your culture, and you must bring your political agenda. These three things, brother, if you look at the non-Africans, the Europeans, right, they use these three things. Everything that they bring their culture, they bring their
yeah,
economic, and they bring their political agenda. If you look at the Asians, they bring their culture, they bring their economics and the political agenda. The Middle Easterns, the same thing. What we need to do is, brother, is not to be frightened of nationalism. You see, the problem that we have is that we've been bullied and made to feel ashamed of nationalism. When you hear that word, automatically, especially if you're not if you're not synchronized, you start thinking about the other ethnicities. But you all know, like I know, is that when you're in their groups and they're sorting out their communities, you will never hear African people coming out of their mouth. Do you understand?
No, it's just
And
that. Yep.
until we understand that, is that you can have a government under a government. For example, when you look at the hockey team, right? There's two different types of hockey organization. You've got the main one, and you'll have the one that's underneath that one, right? Now, if they can have that, which we used to have, because if you look at the UNIA, where the Honorable Marcus Garvey and Charlotte Bass was his co-president, you can have a government under a government. And I think we as African people don't realize that, is that you can literally live by principles underneath a government until you're ready to go against that government. We don't want to do that. I'll give you an example. In the UK, my grandparents came over here and they told us many things, that the African woman, the African Caribbean woman, used to be the midwives, and she used to adopt the African Caribbean orphans without the system knowing, right? There was a lot of, like, for example, NHS institutions in the house, which is amazing, which, by the way, the African Caribbean woman invented that. They also used to do homeschooling. So if we used to do all these types of things indoors, or in some form of like an institution without no one knowing. Why can't we do it now? It has to go back to that we're in love with non-African people.
Mostly.
You know, we view their being and their nature above ours. If we had all these amazing things, brothers, in America and in Europe and in, you know, even in Asia and stuff, right, and we gave all those things up to integrate, then we have definitely abandoned nationalism. Definitely.
100%. I can't, you know, it's 100%. Everything you said is profound. I just want to end up and then leave. I don't want to leave, but I have to. But the only thing I wanted to say is that I'm going to quote Malcolm X. He said, yeah, you guys are out in the water, in the sea, and can't swim. And you worry about somebody in the bathtub that can't swim. You know, it's just hear that word and, you know, let it sink in for all of us to just understand what he actually meant about that. I want to say thank you so much for me to come in here
Thanks for
and
coming.
contribute.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've dropped the links in the chat, so I'll keep the live
Perfect.
stream up too. If anyone wants to come back and look at the links, if they've not seen it, it's in the chat to your petition. And yeah, for definite, I think we should definitely link up later on just to talk about the petition and yeah, just talk it through. So
Yeah, most definitely, my
I
brother.
definitely will be. If you can, I'll tell you what. If you can drop me my emails on my YouTube, so you can just drop me an email or something, or actually, if I don't know if you're on Discord or something, I know he's going to send me something. But yeah, we'll definitely link up, man. We'll definitely link up. So.
I was gonna say before the brother goes, has he heard of the Adulwa Bitcoin movement?
No, no, I haven't.
Well, that's
Please
something.
give me a link about that because I need to know about that as well.
Yeah. How am I gonna do this now?
You can put it on the private chat. You can put it on the private chat.
Because I don't want to disconnect. Hold on. Let me see if I can come out here without disconnect. Am I still on?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're still on.
Okay.
There's a private chat, yeah.
I'll give you the. Let me type in the.
Because I had an idea about cryptocurrency as well, you know, but yeah, I mean, if people are already on it and they're already doing it and it's successful, then I'm gonna jump in and help them. But if you know, because I have so many ideas, and as I said to you, Taj, about the actual petition that I have, like the 10-point program, the power group I want to, you know, form here in the UK actually. So if it's a lot of people here that are from the UK, please link up on the server as well. Please drop them the links to the server so that they can also, you know, join the group. I want to have as many people with, you know, like-minded people to come together and start doing this together, you know, because I think we can. It's just that we need to, you know, form these power groups and do things directly, be productive and not talk too much. We need to do.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that last point.
Yeah.
Definitely agree with that last point.
Mm.
Right, I'll be back in a sec, everyone. Back in a sec.
Right, thank you.
I've sent it in the private.
Yeah, I see it now. I see it now. Is that the group, WhatsApp group?
It's about the there's a lot of links in there. There's with like teachers that put it up for help you to develop your ecosystem of economics.
Whoa, that's good, man. That's something I wanted to do actually. I think, have you seen my petition? Maybe if you can join our Discord server, and check out the petition that I have there, and also check out my podcast that I've had as well. I will drop you the links right now here.
I've just looking at the chat. Tasha said that. Are you on this? You on the Tasha's Discord server? Then have you on that? Because
I think I am. I'm not sure.
if that's the case, then we can also link up there. So that would be great.
Yeah.
Rundo, I don't know who Rundo is. What she? Yeah, it was gone. But yeah, if you're on that server, then for sure, we can definitely sort links and stuff like that on there. So
Yeah.
if that's the case, awesome. We can also we can definitely link up there. So yeah, awesome.
Most definitely. Thank you so much, guys, for letting me in here. As I said, I will also drop my YouTube, the YouTube documentaries. There's 3 of them. I did also 3 big festivals with my friends back in Sweden called Speak Your Mind Festival, where we also brought Black Panther, like original Black Panthers, to Sweden, and let them also speak about their, struggle and stuff like that from the 60s. So it's a profound thing. Hopefully,
I
you guys.
put the link in the main chat as well, just so that people who's listening back on the playback and also just in general can see it, because the private chat doesn't save you. See, so hope you don't mind. But yeah, as much awareness, that's not a problem at all. It's all good with me.
Thank you so much, brother, and talk to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. But have a good evening, and definitely talk to you soon.
Blessed love.
Right, Kale, I don't know if this is the right device. If you can you still hear me? Is everything okay? Yeah, no. Well, I've removed you. So if you are coming back up, I don't know if you were leaving. You didn't really say anything in the private chat at all. But yeah, by all means, let me know whether you want to come up or not. If not, I'll definitely wrap up. It's been a very, very, very fantastic chat. So I appreciate everyone who's come up on my channel. Please make sure that you do like, subscribe if you are new. For those who are watching and they're on the playback, it's been a really, really good conversation, a really good discussion. So I do appreciate everyone for giving their ideas and thoughts. I'm not going to delay it too long. It's getting quite late right now, and I appreciate people are still working, even though it's the run up to the holidays. If you celebrate Christmas or whatnot, I don't know. People have different viewpoints, but it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, no, I think this has definitely been a necessary conversation for us as people to have and to in order to shape how we need to move forward. Because yeah, a lot of things which I did agree with in regards to systems are created for the people who created them. It just is what it is. So we need to, again, 3 things, as the brother was stating, Kale, is that we need to keep our culture, bring out economics. I forgot the third one. I'll remember it in a second. But if we can, and be politically aware, so our political agenda, our political affiliation. So if we can have those 3 things, keep it with us, because we do seem to, again, lose our culture. And African Caribbean Diaspora Talks, this is something I wanted to have a conversation with you about, if you're still up for it. One of the things I want to discuss is how, as British Afro-Caribbeans, our culture seems to have just, for me, it's dwindled. So this is one of the conversations I really wanted to have at some point. So let me know if you're still up for it, if you're still interested. If not, cool. But it's definitely a conversation which I was definitely wanting to have, because it is something that I've realized that we seem to we love to integrate. And again, where necessary, you have to integrate. If you're working in an environment which the language they speak Spanish, you need to speak Spanish if you're going to be in their jobs. If it's German, you speak German, Italian, French, English, or the like. But it doesn't mean you have to take off your mother tongue or your mother culture. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means you know exactly how to navigate appropriately, but still not necessarily destroy everything else that you guys hold dear to us. And this is, I know we could argue slavery did do a lot of that anyway, but still, we still built up a culture after that. So it's definitely something which I would, I've noticed from, again, Caribbeans. If you go 3-4 generations down, you're like, oh boy, you can see it weakens. You could argue it's because we don't have the same culture day in, day out to enrich us, but still it's certain things I'm like, yeah, we definitely have lost a lot of the culturistic traits that we once had as a people. So yeah, definitely culture, being politically aware, that's always an interesting one, because we're going to have different viewpoints politically, but it's about the group at the end of the day. Can we come together as a group? Because I'm pretty sure we as a group can agree on this is what we want as a people going forward, even if we have left-leaning views, right-leaning views. I'm pretty sure we can come together and say, you know what, we at least have, I don't know, 10 things that we all agree on. And then from there, it's all a case of, you know, I agree on this, I disagree with that. It is what it is. But at least we can come together at some point and be consistent and making sure that as best as we can do, we can see this thing forward and see these things through. But again, I'm gonna end the stream right now. I don't know if anyone else wants to jump on quickly at all, but to be fair, now I'm gonna end the stream right now. But thank you to everyone who came up. Thank you to everyone in the live stream. Again, if you're listening, please make sure you like, share the stream, subscribe if you are new. Until then, if I don't speak to you, if you don't come on my live stream, have a great holidays. I appreciate each and every one of you. And yeah, absolutely. Until the next time, we're out of here.